What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. It is episode 14 of season 2. We've had a pretty good upset win, I would say, over the Green Bay Packers, 23-21. The final score, the Commanders winning at home here in Week 7, moving their record to 3-4, while the Packers are also moving down to 3-4 as well. It was a great game in which Heinicke came in to be his first start of the season. Of course, after Carson Wentz broke his finger in the game against the Bears. So, I mean, it was a lot to look forward to coming into this game. Heinicke, he played like Taylor Heinicke, okay? He was 20 of 33 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick, which off the stat sheet, it doesn't look that bad. But the interception was a pick six. And then Heinicke, according to PFF, has been credited with 4 turnover-worthy plays, a lot of them happening on those first 2 drives where Jair Alexander, he dropped an interception that could have easily turned the tide early in the game. Rasul Douglas, I think, also dropped an interception. It didn't start off that great for Taylor Heinicke, but it was really in the second half where he really turned it on once Scott Turner and Ron Rivera told him to stop throwing the ball. He made probably 2 great passes the entire game when both of them were turned out to be a touchdown. One to Antonio Gibson, the other one a 39-yard bomb, I think. It was somewhere around there to Terry McLaurin, which it's spooky season for Terry, and he absolutely went off. 5 catches for I believe 80 or for 70 something yard. Yeah, 5 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown, which the week before Halloween, this is usually when he turns it on a little bit more. So a great game from him. He really showed why he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. In terms of the run game, it was really highlighted a lot in this game because Heineke, of course, couldn't throw the ball in the first half. 38 times the Commanders rushed the ball, and then Heineke, he threw it, I think, 33 times. So we ran the ball more than we actually passed the ball, which is, I believe, a first or somewhere around the first this season, as we really highlighted passing with Carson Wentz, which hasn't turned out that well. But in this one, Brian Robinson, he led the backfield with 20 carries, the most he's ever had in an NFL game, for 73 yards, an average of 3.7 per carry. Antonio Gibson had a great game. He returned some kicks and punts as well, which he was definitely more explosive in open space. I would say he was a better returner than Dax Milne has been so far this season, especially on the kick return. I felt like every time he was taking it from the front of the end zone all the way to the 30-yard line, maybe a little bit less than that, but he was getting those extra 4 or 5 yards for the Washington drive and where the Washington drive started. But yeah, he had 10 carries for 59 yards and a 5.9 average, which is pretty solid for him, saying that he struggled a little bit to begin this season. Curtis Samuel had 5 carries for 26 yards. They ran a lot of jet sweeps and kind of trickery plays. They had Curtis Samuel in the backfield a few times. Samuel also had 5 catches for 53 yards. He was kind of a do-it-all type of guy in that Deebo Samuel type role, which I really enjoyed watching him in that type of role, as long as he can keep the ball safe and not fumble, like we saw, I believe, in the game against the Jaguars to begin the season. He fumbled on a jet sweep or something kind of crazy like that. So as long as he can keep the ball and make sure the ball is secure, I'm totally fine with him being at Deebo Samuel role. Again, the offense was just absolutely incredible. The leading receivers, of course, Terry with 5 catches for 73, Curtis Samuel 5 catches for 53, Armani Rogers, the tight end, 3 catches for 28 yards. The other tight end, Cole Turner, he had 2 targets in this game. The rookie, I believe, 5th-round rookie out of Nevada, and he went down hard on his head, I believe, on that second target, and was ruled out quickly with a concussion. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to play next week against the Colts, but I think we'll be fine without him. Armani Rogers has really stepped up in the preseason and training camp and has become a solid replacement for Logan Thomas and John Bates and Cole Turner for when they're out. So I'm not really worried about this tight end spot, as there are a lot of solid guys. No one really out there making big plays, but there's a lot of solid guys, as Logan Thomas once more was out of this game with his injury. I forgot what it was, but he's been out for a couple of weeks now. Armani Rogers, yeah, 3 catches for 28. Gibson, 3 catches for 18. Brian Robinson out of the backfield, 2 catches for 13. Cam Sims and Dax Milne each had a reception as well, which is not bad for the receivers, as De'Ami Brown was out of this game. Jahan Dotson was out of this game with injuries. So we elevated Kyrick McGowan, who was someone to watch during preseason. He mostly returned punts and kicks during training camp, and he didn't really do that much, but we did elevate him. I don't think he got a single snap in the game, though, so nothing really going for him there. As on the other hand here, for the Green Bay Packers offense, I don't know what's happening with this Green Bay Packers offense. as Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 35 times, and they only rushed it with two of the best running backs, like two top 15 running backs, I would say, two top 15, two top 20 running backs in the NFL, and with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, they only ran the ball 12 times. I don't know if it was because they were down for a good portion of the second half, but they were up at the half, and the run game, I mean, I guess they didn't want to attack these three first round picks up front, which a defensive line that really did play well, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 35 for 194 yards and two touchdowns, a quarterback rating of a 49, and a passer rating of 99. So not bad, not bad for Aaron Rodgers. It's just his wide receivers really let him down. A lot of drops. It's not going to show it on the stat sheet, but there were a lot of drops by a lot of his wide receivers. Allen Lazard was the leading receiver for the Green Bay Packers, 6 catches for 55 yards. Aaron Jones out of the backfield was pretty busy, 9 catches for 53 yards, and both of the touchdowns on 10 targets. So a big game for him if you have him in fantasy. Sammy Watkins had 2 catches for 36 yards, but he was pretty much locked down for the entire game by Benjamin St. Juste and some other of the Washington cornerbacks. Robert Tunyon had 3 catches, and Amari Rogers, not Armani, Armari Rogers had 2 catches for 14. The guy that wears number 8 for the Green Bay Packers. Romeo Doubs, 4 targets, 0 catches. So not a great game from I believe the 7th round rookie who was really impressed. He had a 100-yard game a few weeks ago for Green Bay. So for the 7th round rookie, he wasn't really that impressive in the game against the Commanders. But turnovers were a big thing throughout this entire game. I need to look into the team stats, I believe, because turnovers, it was pretty big. Washington and Green Bay, they each had one, but there was a lot of missed opportunities for both sides as Amari Rogers had 2 fumbles, one of them being on a punt return. He lost one of them as well, Percy Butler with the recovery, the rookie there. So that was a great play from him off the punt return. Aaron Rodgers had a fumble, and then Zach Tom had a fumble recovery uh, for the Green Bay Packers. Taylor Heinicke, he six early in the game, but he also was scrambling out of the pocket and then he fumbled and it was picked up and returned for a Green Bay touchdown. It came back, I believe, because of a block in the back or illegal hands to the face or something like that. So that would have been bad. And I will say, if Taylor Heinicke, if that played stand and Heinicke didn't really impress much for this rest of the second quarter, which he didn't, Sam Howell would have been playing in that second half because first half Taylor Heinicke was a completely different person than what second half Taylor Heinicke was. Second half Taylor Heinicke was great. He didn't really throw the ball up pretty much at all, and all Scott Turner was calling was just inside zone runs and outside runs and jet sweeps with Curtis Samuel. He wasn't really calling any passes for Taylor, but the one pass he did call for Taylor, a nice little bomb to Terry McLaurin on a 39-yard absolute dime, by the way. Terry McLaurin one-on-one against Jair Alexander on the right sideline. So it was a great play by Terry. Jair Alexander, he started off a little great. He dropped the interception, but overall for him, it wasn't a good day at all. In terms of the tackling for both sides, Cole Holcomb was the leading tackler for Washington's defense with 9. He's already up to 69 tackles, I believe, on the season and is on pace for over 130 right now. So it's great. He's a solid middle linebacker, and I really hope that we re-sign him as he's set to be a free agent come this offseason. But for the Green Bay Packers, the rookie Quay Walker was actually the leading tackler for them, 13 tackles for him. Devontae Campbell had 12, and Rasul Douglas and Adrian Amos both had 10 as well. So 4 guys in double-digit tackles for the Green Bay Packers. As I felt like the time of possession was just absolutely dominated by Washington throughout the entire game. It was 37 minutes for Washington to Green Bay's 22 minutes. And in total yardage, Washington gained so many more yards than Green Bay, 364 to 232, allowing Green Bay to only have 16 first downs in the entire game. An offense with Aaron Rodgers, you never really know what you're going to get out of him, plus that backfield as well. It was a great play, a great game by the Washington defense. Again, Cole Holcomb was the tackler. Cam Curl had 7. Derek Force had 5. Jamin Davis, I want to talk about him a little bit. Two tackles for loss in this game. 5 tackles in total. He has really come out and been what we expected him to be in that first round pick that we selected him with in the 2021 draft. So after a not so great year in his rookie season, through the first 7 games of the season, I believe so far, he's looked pretty solid, and I expect him to keep on improving so far this season. Maybe he can become that middle linebacker eventually, but right now he's playing great in that outside linebacker spot, and so we really need someone to be that middle linebacker, and Cole Holcomb is now, but Holcomb is expected to be a free agent this offseason. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Maybe we draft a middle linebacker like Trenton Simpson or something like that out of Clemson this upcoming draft, but I wouldn't really expect it unless something kind of crazy happens and we don't re-sign Cole Holcomb. But I'd expect we do re-sign Cole Holcomb. It just depends how much money he wants and how much Dan Snyder and the company is willing to pay. Which overall, the game itself was a great game for Washington. It was a little bit ugly and a lot of just like fumbles and turnovers and missed opportunities for both teams. But a win is a win, 23-21. The Washington Commanders got the win over the Green Bay Packers. And next week, we have the Indianapolis Colts, which I want to talk about a little bit because earlier today, as I'm recording this again, I record these on Mondays. Earlier today, Sam Ehlinger was announced the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts for the rest of the season, or as long as he stays healthy, right? Because Matt Ryan, so far this season, he leads the league in interceptions and turnovers. So he's not doing that great. And now he has apparently a shoulder injury as well. So the former 6th round pick, Sam Ehlinger, out of Texas, the guy that said Texas, like, we're back. The guy that was like Texas, we're back, and all that. Yeah, that guy. And Texas isn't back still after what I believe it's been 2 or 3 years, 3 years probably. I think that since that happened. But anyways, we're gonna be playing Sam Ehlinger, and so they're gonna have Jonathan Taylor back. The Colts are coming off a loss to the Titans, 19-10. Let me look at the box score real quick. Taylor, not so great. 10 carries only for Jonathan Taylor. Again, he wasn't really 100% healthy, but 10 carries for 58 yards. Deion Jackson, who really impressed me and a lot of people when Jonathan Taylor was hurt, only had 2 carries. Matt Ryan, I don't know why they get him to throw the ball so much. And if they do, if they continue passing the ball as much as they are now with Matt Ryan next week with Sam Ehlinger, this secondary is going to have a field day. 44 pass attempts for Matt Ryan this week. He's already had multiple 40 pass attempt games and multiple, I believe, 50 pass attempt games as well. He had a touchdown and 2 picks. Paris Campbell was the leading receiver for the Colts against the Titans, 10 catches for 70 yards. And Michael Pittman Jr., who, if the Colts are getting a new regime after this offseason, after the season, which is looking a little bit likely, Michael Pittman, he could be traded at some point this upcoming offseason if the new Colts head coach wants to blow it all up. So it's going to be the Colts. They're right now sitting at 3-3-1, so a similar record as us right now. And this is really going to be an interesting game because Washington can go on a 3-game winning streak with a win next week against the Colts and go from being 1-4 to now being 4-4 and possibly back in the conversation of possibly an NFC playoff team because we know maybe there's 4 NFC East teams to make the playoffs because right now we look at the standings. The Cowboys are 5-2, and they are third place in the NFC East. The Giants are 6-1. They are second place in the NFC East. The Eagles are 6-0, again coming off a bye week this week. They are first place in the NFC East. So all 3 of those teams right now, the Giants, again, they're 3 or 4 wins away this entire season. They're 3 or 4 wins away from being into the playoffs. And it's what week are we going into? Week 8? We're almost at the we're not even at the halfway point of the season, and the Giants are 3 wins away, 4 wins away from being into the playoffs, and the Cowboys as well are like 4 or 5 wins away. So Washington, we're not winning this division as we're already 3 games back. We already know that, but there's a chance we could maybe sneak in as a third wildcard team and have all 4 teams from the NFC East make it to the playoffs. It'd be a little bit crazy, but I think it could definitely happen if San Francisco, after a loss to the Chiefs, they're now 3-4. The NFC South, we know no wildcard teams are going to make it there, as the Saints are 2-5, the Panthers are 2-5. The Panthers, I believe, are a win and a Tampa Bay Bucks loss away from having sole possession of the NFC South right now next week. So that's how messed up this NFC South is. And for the NFC North, we just beat the Packers, so now we have the tiebreaker over them. And the Vikings, they're going to win the division. The Lions and Bears probably not going to make the playoffs. So it's really wide open now in the NFC for that final wild card spot. You have the Giants, the Cowboys making it probably right now as the first 2. But then after that, anything can happen. That's all I'm saying. Anything can happen. So this game is going to mean a lot for Washington and where we are going to be after this halfway point of the season. We have the Colts next week on the road at Lucas Oil Stadium. Jim Irsay against Dan Snyder. We know all those storylines as well. Looking forward to a Carson Wentz maybe revenge game, but of course he's going to be out another week. He was placed on injured reserve. So we got the Colts next week. We have the Vikings the week after that. And I forgot who we have the week after that. Yeah, I forgot who we have the week after that. But the next two games, Colts and then Vikings, is going to be two interesting ones. A Colts could be a win there. The Vikings, that's definitely going to be a little bit trickier if we want to win that game at home. But yeah, that's probably going to do it for this episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. We're coming out these weekly podcasts Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. See you guys in the next one. Peace.